Hi, it's Amy from Breathe, Believe, Achieve, and I wanted to talk this morning about unhelpful thinking. So, particularly when we're stressed or when we're busy or when we're anxious, when we're on that hamster wheel and we're going 100 miles an hour, or the mind is just like churning loads and loads of thoughts, we can get into a pattern of thinking as well. And it's not necessarily wrong, it's just unhelpful because it tends to keep us a bit stuck. And if I give you a quick overview of maybe where the most common kind of places of those are. So the first one is that catastrophic thinking, where we go from 0 to 100 to worst case scenario in literally the blink of an eye. And we assume the worst. It often leads us to a place of thinking something terrible is going to happen to us or something terrible is going to happen to somebody that we care about. So catastrophic thinking. The next one that people tend to kind of find, and is a personal favourite of mine, is jumping to conclusions. When we're under pressure, what we can tend to do is we fill in the blanks. So we start to become a bit of a mind reader and we assume that we know what other people are thinking. So we fill in the blanks for ourselves, which is not always very helpful because we often fill them in with negative things. I always say a good example of this one is when somebody, often if you think about it from a work-based situation, if somebody says, "Can I have a word with you?" Sometimes depending on what's going on, if we're really, really busy, our mind will jump to, what have I done? Have I done something wrong? Have I missed something? We never assume that actually somebody might just be wanting to chat to us just to check we're okay, or just to actually say that was a brilliant piece of work you've just done, or I'm really, thank you for doing that. The next one is personalising, and this is where it's one that I see a lot, where we assume personal responsibility for something that's got nothing to do with us. So things can be happening and they are not in our gift to control. We have no responsibility around it, but we automatically assume that we somehow contributed to it, or it's because of something that we did or didn't do. So personalising. Another kind of thinking error that we can get caught into is that kind of fixed mindset, the fixed thinking, black and white thinking, where we can often believe that it's right or it's wrong, you can or you can't. It's either it's black or it's white. There are absolutely no shades of grey. And again, that can be quite a difficult one to be stuck in. Then we've got the kind of focusing in on the negative, and that can be where we can do a really nice piece of work. The day can have gone really, really well, but actually what we focus in on is the tiny little part of that didn't go well, or it didn't go as we planned, that we can somehow assume to be negative, and that's where we really hone our attention and our awareness into. And then there is the kind of generalising. So this is where we say, but that everybody thinks that way, or that's just the way it is. We just overgeneralise statements about everything that was happening. We just assumed, well, that's just the way it is. That's what happens for everybody. So we then, and the last one is often one that I see an awful. In fact, I see a lot of them all, but the perfectionist. So this is where we use words like should, must, and always. And the kind of thinking error around the perfectionist is that we are setting the expectation. So that means that at any point we can just move the bar. So maybe last week this was okay, but we often set it to a point where maybe we're just having a really good day and we did something and everything just seemed to go well, and we were able to, it felt like we kind of were winning at life on that day. It's kind of like we hold that moment and we kind of think, right, okay, so every time I do that, it should be like that. So if you've come to anything or you work with me on a one-to-one, then you'll know that I say like should is a dirty word. It's like, because it comes with so much expectation. So catastrophic thinking, the jumping to conclusions, personalising, the fix, the black or white thinking, focusing in on the negative, that overgeneralising, or the perfectionist, these are all just errors in the way that we think. They tend to kind of come in more when we're under a lot of pressure. And we can experience all of them. We can find ourselves experiencing all of those different kind of ways of patterns of thinking, but we tend to default to one or two that is our kind of preferred. As I said, my hands up, I am a absolute, when I'm under pressure, I'm really, really busy. I become a mind reader and I kind of assume personal responsibility for everything. Those are my go-to places. And the reason I think it's really helpful to know where you tend to default to is it's a little bit of a reminder of maybe just recognising that stress has accumulated. So if I start second guessing myself and having to plan, be 5 steps ahead of myself, always kind of thinking, well, what's going to happen, filling in the blanks, mind reading everything, or thinking every day I'm pissing everybody else off, then that's a bit of a cue to me about what the possibility is that none of that is true. But actually, what's actually happening for me is I am overwhelmed with the amount of things that I'm trying to do. I'm not giving myself a chance to really notice maybe that stress or anxiety that lies underneath all of that, or just I haven't given myself a break, haven't taken any time just simply to rest. So, unhelpful thinking, just recognise when it comes up for you and see it as an invitation just to pause. See it as an invitation to kind of think, oh my goodness, okay, my mind is working so hard that I've kind of fallen into this, it's got stuck in this pattern of thinking. So what can I do to help it out? And sometimes the best thing that we can do is just take a bit of time out, maybe just pick up the phone, speak to somebody that you trust, or just get outside, get some fresh air, make yourself a cup of tea, breathe, just do some simple breathing techniques and recognise it just as it's almost like, I often think it's, remember like when you had like a CD that glitched, it kind of like got stuck. It's a wee bit like that. It's our mind, there's so much going on in our mind that it's almost just got stuck, and it's just that pattern is stuck at the moment. So the best thing that we can do, or rather than taking it out and giving it a wipe, the best thing that we can do is actually we just hit the pause button, we take a breath and we go find some space for ourselves, take ourselves somewhere else. I hope that's helpful. Please remember that there are Create Calm programs that we're doing live group sessions that you can tune into. And if you are noticing that actually we're kind of stuck in that pattern of thinking, the mind is just full, it's impacting on your ability to sleep, your anxiety is much more heightened than normal, you're just feeling a bit agitated or a bit stressed or a bit lost, then you can book in for a one-to-one session. Please contact Jane McKee, who will give you all of the details around that. I hope you have a lovely day, and as I say, just notice those patterns of thinking.